Hey everybody, it's Matt from the house, and in this video we're going to talk about wakeboard rocker types and what they are and what they do and why it's important to how your board rides. Let's check these things out. Okay, so very important thing when you're picking out a wakeboard is trying to figure out what kind of rocker you like. And basically the rocker is the bend of the board from tip to tail. This basically tells you a lot about how your board's going to ride and how it's going to perform. And one is not better than the other, they're just different. You'll see all these different, these different versions of rocker. Most of the time you'll see continuous, 3-stage, and then you'll see all sorts of different versions where it says hybrid or abrupt 3-stage or blah, blah, blah. They're all different versions of those two main types though, the continuous and the 3-stage rocker. So what's best for you? That's really up to you. So we're actually gonna flip this board back here, and I'm gonna start off with the Liquid Force Trip. So this board has a continuous rocker. So a continuous rocker is exactly what it sounds like. It's continuous from tip to tail. You'll notice if I take this board and I push all the way down on one end and we let go, and it starts rocking. And it keeps rocking. And it's still rocking. It's almost done rocking, I swear. Anyway, you get the idea. A continuous rocker, basically it's not interrupted in there. And basically what that does is it creates a board that's real smooth and easy turning. If you think about it too, when your board is sitting in the water, the more rocker that you have to the board, the more it's going to want to sit down and the more it's going to plow the water. It's not going to be a very, very fast board, but it's going to have a nice, easy, controlled turn. Essentially what happens is when your board sits down in the water and it starts turning, it's turning on that rocker. That rocker kind of tells you how the board is going to turn. So more rocker is going to be tighter turn, but it's going to be plowing water, so it's not going to be as fast. Less rocker might not turn quite as quick, might not initiate the turn quite as easily, but it's going to go very, very fast because it's not plowing the water, it's sitting up on top of the water a little bit more. So again, one's not better than the other, it's just personal preference. Another thing that comes with the rocker is how it comes off of the wake too. When you've got a little bit more continuous rocker and you think about the wake as not like a ramp that just goes straight up like Napoleon Dynamite, we got this nice, easy ramp that's kind of got a little bit of a curve to it. That's how the wake is shaped. So as your board rides up that ramp, it kind of launches off of the ramp. So the more continuous your rocker is, the easier of a launch you're going to have. You basically get kind of a, like I said, kind of a launch off of the wake. And basically makes for a nice, easy, way to get into the air and back. A nice, smooth, easy ride and feel. So that rider that likes to go out, take nice, easy carves, come at the wake, into the air nice and easy, down nice and easy. It's kind of more that chill riding style. And that's where that continuous rocker really comes into play. Usually you'll see this a lot on your beginner boards. But again, there's a lot of the pro model boards too. Those riders that have that real nice, easy, smooth riding style, they love that continuous rocker. All right, we go to the opposite end of the spectrum, and then we're looking at a 3-stage rocker. So a 3-stage rocker is, again, exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a rocker, and then it goes into a flat, and then it goes into a rocker into the tail. So it has 3 different stages to it. Now, every board has a different amount of 3-stage rocker. It's not, if it's 3-stage, it's this. Some of them might have bigger flat spots, some of them have less flat spots. It really just depends on the board, but overall, that 3-stage rocker, it definitely does it's a little more aggressive feel, and it does a little bit more than the continuous rocker. So right off the bat, you'll notice I push this thing down just like we did with the Trip, and I let go of it, this this Imperial from Control. You'll notice that it does rock, but you can definitely see it kind of teetering, and you notice that it's done rocking already. So basically what it's doing is it's hitting that flat spot and it's slowing down that rock. And then obviously some boards might have, even bigger flat spot to the point where when you drop the board, it basically does this. Doesn't even do that. It does this and doesn't move at all. So that one backfired on me, eh? But basically your board will literally just boop, boop. That's it. It'll kind of hit that big flat spot and it's done. But no matter what, when you have that flat spot in the middle of the board, this is doing something where it's actually taking that rocker from those tips and you're not getting as much out of it. Basically, the board's rockering down, and then instead of continuing down into the water, it's flattening out. So this creates a little bit faster board, something that's going to be up on top of the water a little bit more, and it's going to want to shoot across the water instead of plowing through the water. So if you basically want those turns that are maybe a little bit more aggressive, and when you come out of them, they're going to go a little bit faster, that's where that 3-stage comes into play. Likewise, and where you're going to notice it a lot too, is actually in the middle of the board when you jump and you hit the wake. So again, we're going to go back to that wake, and it's not a flat ramp that you're just hitting and going off of. It's actually got a little bit of that curve to it. So with the 3-stage, you've got the rocker in the nose, and the board starts riding up just like the continuous, but with the continuous, you get a nice easy launch. This one, as soon as it goes up and as soon as that flat spot hits the wake, it kicks you and it wants to send you up more instead of out. So instead of getting that launch, you get kind of what I call a bucking style kick off the wake, something that's gonna actually kind of boot you up into the air. A great way to think about it is if you've ever, jumped anything, a bike, a skateboard, a snowboard, anything like that, you hit a jump like this and it basically just goes boom and sends you out. If you hit a jump that has some curve to it, it sends you up more. And that's kind of the same thing that this is doing, is it's kind of doing the opposite. It's taking this ramp and instead of having it launch you, it's actually kicking you and you're going up more, and you're getting kind of that bucking style kick into the air, which is not a bad thing. Again, it's just a personal preference when it comes down to it. Another nice thing about those flat spots is they do give you a little bit more of a stable landing when you come down on it. It can be a little bit harder landing, but it tends to be a little bit more stable because it gives you a nice flat spot to land on. But again, 3-stage rocker, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that's different. Okay, so we know about our continuous rocker, we know about our 3-stage rocker, and then we go into the boards that'll say hybrid, or there's all sorts of different terms to come up with how they actually take kind of a continuous rocker and a 3-stage rocker and blend it all together. And Ronix, they call it a hybrid, basically. And basically what they're doing is they're taking that 3-stage rocker and they're taking those flat spots, but they're blending it into a continuous rocker. So this one actually looks like it has, a continuous rocker, mainly because of that part right there in the middle, but you are still getting some of those flatter spots just outside. So again, we're blending the two together. So this one is going to turn a little bit easier, a little bit smoother than a 3-stage rocker. It's also going to pop off of the wake a little bit smoother than a 3-stage rocker. But at the other side of the spectrum too, it's actually going to have a little bit more speed than a continuous rocker, and it's also going to give you a little bit more of a kick too. So it's kind of that in between, and again, it's just kind of giving you the best of both worlds. What's better, continuous, 3-stage? If you can't decide, check out a board that's got a hybrid. It's definitely going to give you, again, some of those features, and it's going to give you some of the benefits. And again, there are some of the downsides too. But it's pretty cool how they're actually able to blend everything together and give you kind of the best of both worlds. And then you will see things too where you'll see like a 3-stage that's, 3-stage abrupt, or, continuous abrupt, or mellow 3-stage. And it's basically all ways to kind of keywords to kind of help you actually decide what kind of board you want. If you like the idea of a 3-stage, but maybe you don't want the hard landings, maybe look for something that has kind of that hybrid, and you can basically help you make those decisions without actually having to see the boards in person. All right, well, thanks for checking out our video about rockers. And again, this is a great way to start when you're looking for boards, is look at the rocker and see what it is. Kind of decide what you're riding. If you have a riding style, you already know. If you don't have a riding style, then that's good because you're going to develop it over time. But you can still say, yeah, the continuous sounds better to me, or yeah, the 3-stage sounds better, or obviously you can go right in between. But it can help you, get you into that riding style that sounds best for you. And again, it might change in the end of the day, and there's nothing wrong with that. But basically, it'll help kind of take a little bit of the confusion when you're trying to pick out a board for yourself. But if you got any questions, about the rockers, leave us some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we get you into some rad gear, but we also want to make sure that it's the right gear for your riding style too. Like, subscribe, and definitely make sure to get that bell on so you can find out when all the new videos drop. And yeah, no matter what kind of riding style you like that smooth, easy launch off the wake, or you want that nice, quick pop off the wake, get yourself a board and get out and ride, because any day of riding is a good day of riding.